This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
On your Wednesday morning, big show coming up. Curtis Sliwa, Arthur Aidala, Stella Escobedo, live in California, Peter King and Lara Trump. So coming up in, before you know it, October the 5th, we leave, me and Justin, for Tel Aviv, as we did back in January and February. And we're going to do 4 live shows, like we did in historic fashion last January, from Israel. October the 7th, that Monday, the 1-year commemoration of that horrific day. That show probably just outside of Gaza. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 8th through the 10th, from the JNS studios, thanks to Alex Trayman in Jerusalem. And then, of course, Friday the 11th, we can't work because it's Shabbos, and that goes into Yom Kippur, and then we come home. So we are getting ready to go back. And it is not exactly a peaceful time in Israel. One of the things that really frustrates me about the coverage here is that it's awful. You know, Harris and this White House, all they talk about are the quote-unquote Palestinians. I'm sick of hearing about them. Just so you know, the IDF has expanded their Gaza forces, Khan Yunis and other places. But what they never talk about is the whole country's on fire. Last night, for example, Israel launched a major deal in Judea and Samaria, which Americans call West Bank, which annoys me too. It's Judea and Samaria. That's where Jewish came from. And in the northern part of Israel, of course, we know about Hezbollah and Lebanon. The whole country's on fire. And all Harris and these idiots talk about are the Palestinians in the south. So I'm on my way to a place that is literally a tinderbox. Well, maybe it's not that bad. We'll find out right now from Josh Hasten. Last year when I was in Israel, earlier this year I should say, Josh wrote a very, very nice story on jns.org about the Sid and Friends morning show in Israel. So here he is in Israel live this morning. Josh, good morning.
Good morning, Sid. Great to talk to you.
You too. Are you ready to write another story about Sid and Friends back in Israel?
100%. Absolutely. We'll do it.
I can't wait. Well, thank you. So answer this for me. You know, last year when we went in January, it was only about 3 months after the attacks, and tension was real high, and it was a very, very nerve-wracking time. And you would have thought a year later, 9 months after that, going into the 1 year to that awful day, that things would have really calmed down by now. But correct me if I'm wrong, you got fighting in the south, fighting in the central part of the country, and fighting in the north. So if anything, it's escalated since we've been there back in January. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's absolutely escalated. On the other hand, I'm looking out my window, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day here in the hills of Judea, very, very calm and quiet. And that being said, we are fighting, as the Prime Minister mentioned, on 7 different fronts. Prime Minister Netanyahu, we're being attacked from all sides, from the north, from the south, in Judea and Samaria. You said last night the IDF launched a major counterterrorism operation. And what this really is, this is the Iranians trying to achieve a foothold in Judea and Samaria. They are supporting this. They are sponsoring this. And Israel is now inside the cities, the IDF in Jenin and Tulkarem, and all these strongholds in northern Samaria where the terrorists are hiding out. And we are fighting them. We are going to defeat them. We'll defeat them there. We'll defeat them in the south, and we'll defeat them in the north, and all other fronts. It will happen. Unfortunately, as you said, it has been taking a long time, but we are determined. Our brave men and women of the IDF are determined to see this thing through and eliminate the threat from all of these Iranian proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, whomever they are, whoever comes after Israel, we'll go after them, and we'll take care of business.
You know, one of the highlights of my trip last year, Josh, was our mutual friend Judah Honickman and Aaron, all those wonderful guys. They took me and my daughter Ava, my son Gabriel, to a barbecue a bunch of fighters who had been fighting in Jenin. You just mentioned Jenin in Judea and Samaria. 400 of them. Justin was there, too. They had just come home. And we had this great barbecue. There's a great video of me being hugged by all these guys. And, you know, just about a month ago, somebody from the one Jewish state reached out to me. And they said, listen, we are running for the World Zionist Congress. And the elections are between March and May next year. And one Jewish state, which also is the name of David Friedman, the former ambassador's new book, this group, we are a very conservative group, and we want to make sure that Judea and Samaria is part of Israel, along with, of course, no two-state solution. So I don't know if you know this, but I am now a delegate with a group that is trying to make sure that the aforementioned Judea and Samaria becomes a part of Israel and not just some territory inhabited by Arabs and Iranians. You know this?
No, I didn't know you were getting into politics, but that is a great point. No, Judea and Samaria, this is the ancestral biblical homeland of the state of Israel and the Jewish people. We're up here in the mountains overlooking 75% of the population down below the greater Tel Aviv area. If you turn this over to a Palestinian authority, it will become a hotbed for terrorism. Every piece of land that Israel has turned over to the Palestinian Authority in hopes for peace have become launching pads for terrorism. I'm sitting up here in Gush Etzion in these hills. I can see Ashdod, I can see Ashkelon, I can see the towns down below. Whether it's the PA or Hamas, which eventually might take over, or another ISIS-related terrorist organization, you cannot turn over your strategic highlands. Any military man will tell you these are essential to the state of Israel and the Jewish people. This is our historic heartland. Okay, so even with the security, even more importantly, the connection between the Jewish people and Judea and Samaria, as you said before, goes back thousands of years. The name of Judea, Jews come from Judea.
That's right.
This is where we come from. This is our heartland. This is where we belong. And I'm glad to hear that you're going to be a representative there.
I am. I'm actually, right now, as we speak, a delegate. I'm a real politician for this group. And I talked about the barbecue in Jenin, and we'll move off this and talk about this wonderful story about the hostage yesterday. But I did a bunch of tours when I was there last time. I'll be doing them again all over the country. And my friend and yours, Eve Harrow, took us on a tour in Judea and Samaria. And I was right where you are this morning. I was right there in Gush Etzion. And it is just absolutely gorgeous.
It certainly is, and that's why I said it's such a dichotomy in terms of what's going on, because, you know, we're fighting this war on seven fronts, but I'm looking outside right now. The birds are chirping. The sun is out. It's a beautiful summer day. And you mentioned the hostage. It's unbelievable. You know, Israel is being accused of being an apartheid state, of carrying out a genocide, all these terrible things against Muslims. That being said, our special forces went into southern Gaza yesterday. By the way, let's remember the Biden administration told Israel under no circumstances should you go into southern Gaza. We went in. We went down.
And let me stop you for 1 second. When you say the Biden administration, you have to include, I'm going to tell this to all my friends in Israel, part of that Biden administration and the person that was even more vociferous than Biden about not going into Rafah, Kamala Harris. Let's remember that.
Right, absolutely. So Israel rescues 52-year-old father of 11, Farhan al-Qadi, a Bedouin Muslim from southern Israel. We got sent into special forces and rescued him, and he was being held by Hamas for over 300 days down there. And thank God the Jewish people, the nation of Israel, everyone is celebrating, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone here in Israel. Yet the haters out there will refer to us as an apartheid state. We sent our special forces. We risked soldiers' lives to go down into the tunnels looking for the hostages. And I saw you the other day. You put together a very, very important video. Let them go. That is the mantra that we need to have. Let them go. Hamas, through military means, through IDF military force, that is the way we're going to get back the hostages. And they have to let them go. We have to put enough pressure on them in order for them to realize that it's not worth it anymore to hold the Israelis hostage down there in the hellhole, which is southern Gaza inside the tunnels. We must let our people go. It has to happen, and we must defeat Hamas, and they can no longer pose a threat to the state of Israel. And as you know very well, whatever happens here, we are the canary in the coal mine. Whatever happens here happens across the world. So when it starts here, it doesn't end here. And the American people understand this. They know this. The vast, vast majority, even though you have these haters on college campuses, the American people know that they stand strong with Israel. We stand with the United States. We are great partners, and we must let them go. We must defeat Hamas.
I'm honored. I'm not going to lie to you, Josh. I had no idea you even saw that video. Talking about videos, you folks,
I saw it.
You folks should go watch the video yesterday talking about this Bedouin man that was released. He's got 11 kids, 11, and they came rushing. I mean, running like Carl Lewis to run into this guy's arms. It is a very emotional video. But the video you're talking about was, at the DNC when Rachel Goldberg spoke. And I love Rachel. I love her. I love John. I want Hirsch home as much as anybody, but she did. I think she kind of blew it that night when she said my son was born in the same city as Harris. At least when I say blew it, she showed her true political colors, which I think was a bad move out of Rachel. I still love her, don't get me wrong. I don't want to criticize her, but I thought that was a bad move. But they started chanting at the DNC, bring them home, and it infuriated me. It's like, wait a second. When you say that, you're putting the onus on Bibi. Like, in other words, hey, Bibi, get these people home. Even to a certain extent, the United States. It's not about Bibi. He's not holding anybody hostage. The chant should be let them go. But if you know this, Josh, that chant is a DNC Democrat chant. And they are putting all the pressure on Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. Republicans need to be smarter, and other Israelis, and say, let them go, not bring them home.
Yeah, listen, the hostage families, I believe, are entitled to do whatever is necessary, whatever they believe is in their best interest to get their loved ones freed, and no one would ever want to be in that position.
They get a pass. They get a pass. Right, they get a pass.
Hell. But that being said, I'm talking about the political echelon, and yesterday's the perfect example. When you free a hostage through military means, Hamas must be squeezed and forced to let them go. Okay, so when you're talking about it from that level, absolutely, that should be the mantra. That's what we should be saying from the top politicians all the way down, leaving the hostage families aside and, the loved ones, but let them go. That is the message, and Hamas has to feel it. Okay, and that's why yesterday was a success. And they told us, as I said before, they told us, don't go there. Don't go into southern Gaza. Don't go into the tunnels. We did. It was necessary. We brought back the hostage, and please God, we'll bring back all of them.
Yeah.
Let them go.
I believe that's 5 now that we brought back, including Noah, who everybody knows that beautiful face. 5 since we decided to go into Rafah and didn't obey Biden and Harris, and it's worked out well for the Israelis. Final thing here, there's been this waiting period with Iran, and I know that there was something over the weekend. Israel fired first and said, hey, we know what you're thinking, so be careful. They fired back. It was pretty much contained like it was back in April. So there really hasn't been this all-out, thank God, by the way, this all-out attack from Iran. But talking to people on the ground in Israel, they still feel like that's a possibility. Well, how do you feel?
Yeah, it's a definite possibility. This is called psychological warfare. Iran is playing with us right now. They're waiting and waiting and waiting. And every now and then you'll hear a message from an Iranian official, the foreign minister or whatnot, saying that the attack is on the way. So this is psychological warfare. They want people to be scared. They want people to be afraid. But that being said, you go to downtown Jerusalem, you go to the streets of Tel Aviv, and you see the cafes are packed, the streets are packed, the people are out and about. We are not letting Iran dictate our lives. Okay, it's definitely in the back of our minds. We know it could happen at any second. It could happen right now. It could happen tonight. We know it's going to happen. And please God, just like back in April, as you said, when Iran fired over 300 missiles, drones, and rockets at us, we were able to repel those attacks, shooting down about 99% of them. So it could happen at any time, but people are carrying on with their lives. People are going out. People are enjoying themselves. It's a beautiful summer. And that's what makes Israel so unique and so crazy. We're fighting a war on 7 different fronts. Iran, who's still pursuing nuclear weapons, which people must understand, that is the biggest existential threat to the state of Israel, is Iran trying to pursue nuclear weapons. As all that has happened, I'm here. I just walked over to my window, seeing another beautiful day here in the Jewish state in the hills of Judea, overlooking the vast majority of the country down below, 75% of the population down in the greater Tel Aviv area. So that is the dichotomy of what we're going through here in Israel.
We can't wait to get there. I got to tell you, we love it there. Justin and I. Justin's gone there many times. His aunt and uncle live in Tel Aviv too. So we're going to see you, Josh, in about 6 weeks. Please make sure you come down to the JNS studios there, and like you did last time, and say hello and stay safe. And we will see you again very soon. Great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right, Josh. Josh Hasten right there, jns.org. We talked to all of those folks. Alex Trayman, a dear friend of mine. He's the CEO. Caroline Glick and Josh as well.